Boys and girls, this chapter is chapter 10, and it's called The Family Begins to Starve. Not really a good title. During the next 2 weeks, the weather turned very cold. First came the snow. It began suddenly one morning, just as Charlie Bucket was getting dressed for school. Standing by the window, he saw the flakes drifting out of the sky that was the color of steel. By evening, it lay 4 feet deep around the tiny home. Mr. Bucket had to dig a path from the front door to the road. After the snow, there was a freezing gale that blew for days without stopping. Oh, how bitter cold it was. Inside the house, little jets of freezing air came rushing in through the sides of the window and under the doors, and there was no place to escape. The 4 old ones lay silent and huddled in their beds, trying to keep the cold out of their bones. The excitement over the golden tickets had long been forgotten. Nobody in the family gave a thought now to anything except the 2 things that were most on their mind: keeping warm and trying to get enough to eat. There was something about cold weather that gives one an enormous appetite. Most of us find ourselves craving rich steaming stews and hot apple pie and delicious warm dishes. And because we're all a great deal luckier than we realize, we can usually get what we want. But Charlie Bucket never got what he wanted because his family couldn't afford it. Soon, he started to become desperately hungry. And all at once, even the meals became thinner. The toothpaste factory suddenly went bust and had to close down. Mr. Bucket tried to get another job, but he had no luck. Slowly but surely, everyone in the house was beginning to starve, and every day Charlie Bucket walked his way to school very slowly, and he would pass the chocolate factory. He would lift his small pointed nose and sniff the wonderful sweet smell of chocolate. He would stand for a few minutes as if he were trying to eat the smell itself. "That child has got to find more food," said Grandpa Joe. "He's a growing boy." "But what can we do? He won't take any of ours," said Grandma Josephine. "He's a fine fellow," said Grandpa George. "He deserves better than this." The cruel weather went on, and Charlie Bucket grew thinner and thinner. It seemed doubtful if he could go on much longer without becoming very ill. And so, with the curious wisdom that comes to the small children in times of hardship, he began to make changes here and there to make things just a little bit easier. He began walking slower to school, as if to save his strength. He sat quietly in the classroom. Everything he did now was to save his strength and prevent exhaustion. One afternoon, walking home, incidentally feeling hungrier than he had ever felt before, his eyes caught a glimmer of green in the snow. Something just caught his eye and made him stop and look. He stepped off the curb, and when he saw what it was, he could not believe it. It was a dollar bill. He looked around him. Had somebody just dropped it? That was impossible. Several people went hurrying past him, but no one stopped to take a look. No one took a notice to the little boy crouching in the gutter. Could it be his, this dollar? Could he have it? He pulled it from under the snow. It was damp and dirty, but otherwise perfect. A whole dollar. He held it between his shivering fingers and looked at it. He knew at that moment it meant one thing: food. He turned and began walking to the nearest shop, 10 paces away. It was a newspaper and stationery store, the kind that sells everything, including candy. And what he would do, he would buy a bar of candy and eat it all up, every bit of it, right then and there. And the rest of the money he would take back home, and he would give it to his mother. And the next chapter is chapter 11, The Miracle. And I think we kind of know what that is, but we'll have to wait till tomorrow to find out.